I'm Sophie Hannah.
And I'm Nushy Rose. Hello and welcome back to episode 83 of Ethnically Speaking, the show where we discuss issues affecting the UK's highly melanated communities, from pop culture to current affairs and everything in between. Now, we always keep it 100, and today we're talking about listening rather than looking for love. So this summer, Blink, an audio-only dating app, is launching in the UK. And with the rising popularity of audio formats, from podcasts to Clubhouse to audiobooks, its creators think it might soon be able to blow competitors like Hinge and Tinder out of the water. The catch here is obviously you can't see the person that you're matched with until after you've spoken to them. But this format isn't that new, with shows like Love is Blind, Blind Date, and the new Netflix show Sexy Beast all using this same concept and taking looks out of the equation. So guys, I want to know, do you think that attraction is purely based on how we look? And if so, is Blink doomed to fail?
I don't think attraction is based solely on the way that we look. No, I don't think so. I think in the West, I think definitely the currency of looks is very high in terms of what a person looks like. I think especially women as well. So I think that does play a big part in it. But I think for lasting attraction, I don't really think looks has that much to do with it, to be honest. Like it's not really something you can take to the bank when things are difficult in your relationship. And those things are going to get you through tough times. I don't think Blink is doomed to fail. I think it's actually going to be a big hit, at least at first, because I think people are going to be really interested to see another way to date and to kind of take the pressure off a bit of what do they look like? Do they like my picture? Do they not? And give people hopefully a chance to connect in a different way.
I agree with Sophie. I think that looks plays a big part, but I don't think it's the whole picture. However, that being said, I think that there's a bit of a psychology behind it in terms of the appearance, because I think that it can kind of cloud people's vision in the sense that when you are... I saw this this study where it said that it done a research and it showed that people who were deemed as more attractive got preferential treatment and they received like free gifts or, got into clubs for free or, just got a pass a bit more. And I think when you're in a relationship with somebody or situationship or whatever people want to call it, when the person is very attractive to you, it brings out a different side of you. And I think you handle situations differently, which could make you think that the person is better in other avenues, but it's not actually that person that is better. It's just that you are the one that's handling it in a particular way that's going to elicit a specific type of response. But I don't think that looks is everything. However, I'm not down for the app.
Why?
Because I don't like the idea of presenting it as if you care about people's looks, then you're superficial. I don't agree. I don't think that if you care about people's looks, you're superficial. I think that they all hold equal weight towards one another. And I don't think that it's fair to make somebody feel that if they cared about what somebody looked like, then they're looking for love and they're looking for the wrong reasons. I don't agree with that.
So you think that looks holds an equal place to all other characteristics that someone's looking for in a relationship?
It depends. So for me, I am a tall woman. I'm the average height for a man, according to Google. If not taller than average height, I'm 5'10". And I don't necessarily really have a problem with height, but I have noticed that men have a problem with women who are taller than, not all of them, but a lot of men I've been exposed to have some sort of complex with women who are taller than them, and I don't want to deal with that. So if I'm speaking to someone or dating someone, I'm potentially looking for someone who's taller than me.
But in general, do you think that they're equal, like looks is equal to other things that people will be looking for in a relationship?
I wouldn't say it's equal, as in like 50-50, but I'd definitely say it's up there. If I had to put it into a ratio, maybe like, I don't know, 40-60.
Okay.
I think it's just like exciting for all the single people out there to have another way to communicate and to meet people. Because I think this is I think it's a really good idea, but I kind of agree with you, Monah, in the sense that I don't think it's good because it kind of strips off like a superficial way of looking at dating or each other or our own appearances. I just think what it does at a time where actually, there's tons of studies that have shown that single people have found the pandemic, incredibly difficult because, they've been isolated and alone. And actually kind of gamifying the experience in the sense that, looking, new ways to meet people in a way that's actually fun and encourages people to actually talk and almost take them out of their comfort zone and actually have to engage. It's even less about the romantic element in my mind. It's a way to kind of re-socialize people back into speaking to strangers and building meaningful connections in any kind of form, which I think that to me is like the key thing here. Like, it's come at a time when that's been lacking. And so I kind of feel like this is the moment for this app just to kind of help people or kind of bring them back, remember what real life is actually like.
So you don't think it's a romantic type of thing?
Well, I think for me personally, would I use this app? The thing is, I'm the kind of person that hates voice notes. If people send me voice notes, I won't listen to them. So this is like my nightmare in terms of meeting a prospective partner. Actually, over the first lockdown, I matched with someone on Hinge. And, everything was nice. He was incredibly attractive. Well, he was fine. But anyway, he was reasonably good looking. And the issue was I literally couldn't bear it because every single night he used to write acoustic, like soul tunes. But he had like the singing voice, very feminine voice. And so I stopped replying, but he was still sending me these voice notes. And actually, I think the one thing when you're communicating in that way with a stranger is it feels like for me, if it was romantic, it feels like an imposition on your time because you're forced to actually listen to them, which for some people is great. But if you're kind of just looking to have some fun, as in a conversation, I don't think it's the most appropriate way, for that kind of thing. But obviously, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, it's great, and you can tolerate.
But in terms of the so you're saying it would kind of be your worst nightmare because it would kind of be like voice notes, like having to talk to the person, right? So what do you do after you match someone on a dating site? You don't talk to them? What is the next step? Because in terms of the app, they're saying like it's a 10-minute conversation and then you fill out an evaluation into whether you like them, and then you get a chance to view a group of people who have, I guess, looks similar to the person. One of them is the person, but there'll be a group of like 5 people and they say, do you like the sort of look that these people have? If you say yes, then it will tell you the person who you're speaking to. So I don't think it's hidden from you for that long, but do you not talk to people after you match with them? Like, I just don't understand.
Like, for me, if I'm on an app, there's 2 things. One is like the really sad thing, which is I like the affirmation that someone is attracted to me. So I like having a match. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2, I very rarely reply to people on these apps anyway, because I partly do it out of this just enjoyment, like the kind of game aspect of it. I like swiping through people, just seeing who's there, rather than thinking like, okay, I'm going to make something meaningful from this. And the third thing is, if I really do fancy them, I just want to meet them. Like, literally, like, I have no interest in small talk. I can't stand it. If I want to text someone, I'll text my friends. But if I want to date, I want to date. So I would much rather just meet them in real life and arrange to do that than have this prolonged process of like telling each other our deepest secrets.
I appreciate your honesty and ownership, because at the end of the day, it's very true. Like, people do like that affirmation that they get. And I wanted to say to Sophie, because I know that you're not, if I'm correct from previous episodes, you said that you're not very like experienced when it comes to online dating. Loads of people on there don't talk. They match just to have a match. It's like you're giving them an ego lick and they're like, tick, I still got it. Loads of people match and they don't talk. And I'm actually going to backtrack on what I said about I'm not here for the app. I think it depends on your intentions, because there seems to be this uniform stereotype of people are either on the app to smash or they're on the app to be in a relationship. And you actually forget that dating for everyone is different and people go on there with different intentions. So I'm going to backtrack on that by me saying I'm not here for the app. Depending on what people's intentions are, this could arguably be a good app to kind of weed through superficial stuff and actually get down to the nitty-gritty and actually cripple people from matching and just being able to show their friends, oh, I matched this really fit girl, or oh, I matched this really fit guy, and not taking it anywhere than that. You actually get to know the person and build a genuine connection. But that depends on the person. It depends on what their intentions are there for.
I feel like I'm just learning a lot today, guys. Honestly, I am just learning a lot. I'm going to be the first person to say everybody loves attention, of course. Like, I went out with a friend the other day. This guy was trying to chat to me, and I was just like, it was as I was walking past and he's giving compliments. I was like, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And my friend was just like, oh, you're going to respond? I'm like, oh, wait, everyone likes to be liked. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm not stopping to chat to him. I know I'm married. Like, nothing's going to happen. Doesn't mean I can't say thank you for paying a compliment. So I get that. I just feel like it's an effort. But I don't know, because I guess my friends who are on dating websites, they're women who are trying to look for long-term matches and looking for partners and people to settle down with. So I think it's good to know that there are a variety of people looking for things. And I think that's who Blink is going to appeal to, for people. And I think there is this misconception. I think there's this misconception that it's probably going to be like the uglies who are going on there. And I don't think it is. I genuinely don't think it is. There could be people who are like conventionally really good looking, who like, actually, I want someone who isn't just going to talk to me and tell me how beautiful I am all the time and just pay me compliments and do all this stuff because really they just want to like get into my pants rather than actually get to know me. So I think it's going to work for different people. And if you're into wanting to learn something about people before looks get into it, then I completely understand. But I think, yeah, let me stop there. That's what I think.
Would any of you agree to dating someone who you hadn't seen before?
I have.
No.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Sorry. She was like, no.
No. Like, I don't have a problem with that, because I think for me, what I've realized over time is that I like guys that are intelligent. That's what I like. I really like guys who are intelligent, who have sense about them and really think about things that are going on in the world and have an opinion about things. That's what's really attractive to me. And it's kind of like a running joke with some of my friends, because they're like, you just do not, your exes haven't been the most good looking, Sophie, if at all. And I just kind of laugh at that, because I'm like, I mean, once I got to know them, like on an intelligence level, they became very attractive to me. Like, maybe not always in the first instance. I can't really say I've dated a guy who I'm just like blown away by. But some of those guys who I've spoken to, I am blown away by. Like, I'm telling you, there was nothing clicking behind the eyes. There was just nothing there. Now, that's not everybody, just my experience. So, like, I'd probably say my first long-term boyfriend, like, this was like when I was like 19, and he was set up, like my friend from university set us up, and it was like her brother-in-law, because their older siblings were like together. So she was just like, he's looking for a good girl, which I was at the time. And
so you're not anymore. You're not a good girl anymore.
Do you know what? I feel like I'm a little rough around the edges than I probably was, but I went to church. I had just gone back to church. I was very into Jesus, and they were like, she's very wholesome. Like, she doesn't drink. She doesn't really want to go to the club. And he had been dating some wild ratchet girls. He was like, oh, I just want a girl that's sane. So, this was before mobile phones were in, but cameras were not strong whatsoever. So we never really got to see each other. We talked for maybe a month, maybe a little bit more, finally met up. And I remember when I first saw him, I was just like, oh no, he's not my type. And like, he was very into me. And after the first day, I'm like, do you know what? I am going to make this work, because I really like this guy. We spent all this time talking. We click, we get along. I really like him. And after the first day, he was just like, so what's it going to be? Is it going to be a relationship? Like, he was very cutthroat down the line. And after that, like, to be honest, in the second time when I saw him, I'm like, no, this guy's actually beautiful. What am I talking about? So for me, attraction doesn't have to come from the looks. Like, I'm very much like into what else are you bringing? Because you can be pretty to look at, but that really, for me, it doesn't really bring anything to a relationship. If you can get your 10 out of 10 person, and then someone who's kind and supportive, is what's I gonna say? Is present in the bedroom. Yeah, wants to look after you. You know, someone who's going to be a good father if you want to have children, is an earner and has a good work ethic. If you can get it all, get it all. But for me, there's certain things that I'm willing to kind of be like, not as high, so I can get the other stuff. And I think for me, even though I might really like looks, I think I've seen from my past experiences that actually I'm much more willing to be like, you don't have to be a 10, but what else are you bringing to the table?
Nushy, you said no. Straight up. You said no
like, nope.
You're like, no.
No, like, definitely not. Do you know what, yeah? I was just like, in my life, There was one time I was being set up on a blind date, and just before, maybe 2 days before I went to meet this guy, I said to the friend who was setting us up, I said, look, why don't you just send me one photo? And you know what? I am so glad she did, because I knew I had to cancel immediately. And like, the thing is, I have no regrets about cancelling that date. But for me, I like to know what I'm getting. I like to feel, I wouldn't feel comfortable meeting a stranger to the extent that I literally don't even know what they look like. And I know in theory, like let me backtrack. So basically, I don't judge people by their looks in terms of for my partners. Like, I would say that most people I've dated, hopefully none are watching, are probably like 5s, 4s. There was one, my longest relationship I had, the guy, I mean, we don't speak anymore, so this is fine, but he had terrible dandruff. He had this skin condition. You talk to him and chunks of his face would be falling to the ground. He was also
I can't. I can't do bad skin, That's a deal breaker. I can't do bad skin, I'm not gonna lie.
It was like, he looked raw, like he looked uncooked. And, but you know what, I still, I loved him. We worked together, we were a team, we were a team at work, and that's kind of how we got to know each other, because we sat next to each other every single day. But had I seen him on an app, would I have swiped right? Absolutely not. So I don't judge people in that sense. I don't judge potential matches or men based on their attractiveness. But if given the opportunity to, if I know I'm entering a situation that is about seeing if there's a connection there, I would still prefer to know, I just think it's safer. And, I think love often blossoms. I think most of the meaningful connections, I think all of us have probably had in our lives, our relationships, have come kind of out of the blue. Usually it's people you know before, and you kind of get to know them, and that's how you build the connection. And in those kind of relationships, obviously it's not to do with how you look, but yeah, if given the choice, of course I would prefer to see them first.
What about you, Monah?
No, I couldn't go on a blind date.
What?
I couldn't go on a blind date. No, I couldn't do it.
Oh, guys, man. I feel like when you guys are saying that, it's like one day. It's like a couple hours out of your life. Like, literally, it's not like you're saying relationship. It's just like, can I meet up with someone? I'll be like, I'll meet you. I can literally be like, make an excuse. I've done that. I've had a friend call me in the middle of a date that I didn't want to be in, and after an hour, I was like, there's been an emergency. I'm so sorry. I have to go. Like, I'm willing to do that, but I'd be like, for me, I'm just like, I never know. They could be my perfect match. That was the mentality that I had.
You know what? So that is a good way to look at it. But I think the thing for me is that I'm not the most experienced dater. I haven't had loads of boyfriends, loads of partners. I'm very inexperienced, shall I say? So, but I also know, sounds so cliche, I know my worth and I know what I bring to the table. I can chat for days. I can carry the weight of a conversation. I don't care about who pays, who splits. There's so many things that I don't care about. But me giving my time to someone, there has to be something there for me physically. And what I mean by that is, I have to talk to someone who there has to be some sort of attraction. If there isn't any attraction, you could be as lovely as Larry. We're just going to end up being mates. And even at that, you guys are my mates. And you see how I am with my phone. I barely chat to my mates. So there's just going to be another one. If I'm dating someone or going on a date, I need to have that fire in my belly. I need to be thinking, get ready to go see so-and-so. And, have a little kick in my step. If I'm not attracted to you, I'm so sorry. It's not going to be there.
Fair enough, guys. Fair enough.
I'll work for a charity. I do my charitable causes. I don't need to do that in the dating life.
I feel like we're giving people a rough deal, because even if we think of the program Sexy Beasts, and Nushy was saying how, they're taking that idea of not seeing what the person looks like. For me, that's a lie. Sexy Beast is an American dating show. Nobody on American dating shows are ugly. They don't do it. They don't put real people on American dating shows. It's actually a joke. There's always somebody who's good looking, but they might not be your type. So they could be Hispanic or darker features or blonde hair, blue eyes, or, taller. So on Sexy Beast, even from the clips that I've seen, I'm like, none of these people are ugly. When you see clips of the people, I'm like, none of these people are ugly. So I don't know. I feel like sometimes people are selling a dream on these programs, or I think on dating apps, because do you think that people actually want to match with people who are kind of on an equal level, or are they trying to hit the jackpot? on like a Tinder or a Hinge? Because do you think people are realistic in judging themselves and then going for something?
From the men and women I've spoken to, I feel like men are trying to hit the jackpot. And I've seen both. I've seen the applicants of women on there and men. Let me tell you something, the women ain't come to play. The women ain't coming to play. These men have a lot to play with. These women are 20 out of 20s. I've seen some girls, they look like they had their pictures done in a photo shoot, like just... you see some influencers on there as well, so the bar is high for women. And for the men, you're just like, okay. So I definitely think that for men, they're trying to hit the jackpot and they have this at their fingertips. There are a lot more attractive women, I believe, on these apps than there is men. So women are kind of like, okay, he's good for a mediocre bunch. They're like, okay, cool. And I feel like women tend to be like that anyway. Like, if you ask your girlfriends about their guy, you got the ones, let me just try and find a really good picture because he doesn't really photograph that well. Okay, cool. or you've got that one where it's like, instead of flicking, they're giving you the story. He's not really my type, but the thing is he's so funny. So when we started meeting, you're like, just show me the pic. But every girl does that where they kind of dampen it. They know that he might not necessarily be like, oh, wow, well, look, our showstopper. But there's other things that caught their eye. So many women are like that. But with the men, or again, I don't want to generalize, but with some of the men, you look at them, you're thinking, she is a bombshell. Like, they're just, and majority of the time, they happen to be nice girls too. So they end up getting all of it. So to answer your question, Sophie, yes, I think men are going for the jackpot. And a lot of the time, they win the jackpot too.
It's because he who dares wins. That is the bottom line. Is that from Only Fools and Horses? That's what you say. He who dares wins, brothers. Like, you got to be in it to win it. And that's the thing that I saw that was really interesting. When I was reading an article, they were saying people who believed they were better looking were more willing to swipe to not pick people because they believed that they were good looking. I'm like, I can go for someone better. So I guess you got to come with that big that big D energy. You got to come with the big energy and believe that I can get that guy, I can get that girl. Because I agree. I personally feel men are less likely to go for personality over looks, in my opinion. From the men that I know, agree. Like, I've probably dated maybe one guy who, I mean, I don't think I'm ugly. But I think I've only dated one guy who I genuinely believe didn't care about how I looked. The rest of them, I knew that they were really attracted to me. That's why they went for me. I'm not grading myself high, but for them, they were really attracted to me. So I think for men, that is much more instinctual. But again, I think in the Western world, because there's a lot of places in the world where people aren't necessarily looking for looks. They might be looking for like family or qualities or what might make you a good wife or a good mother. And I think sometimes we sell ourselves short when in the West, we put such an emphasis on it. Because I feel like it can be kind of really, really tiring. Like, I've seen friends like really stress about what they look like, what picture they put up and this and that, and going to meet somebody and knowing that someone could see you in the flesh and dismiss you in a couple of seconds and, like, put aside all the things that could be a really good match for them.
I wouldn't dismiss somebody only based on looks 100% no, because it does all come together. But I think that
No, you wouldn't go on the date with them, so...
Yeah, but listen to me! No, because if we happens to go on the date, right, and it was going good in the chat, if there was other things coming to play, then yes, okay. I haven't dated, like, what? Drakes and Michael B. Jordans out here. Doesn't mean I won't dare though, as you said, Sophie. But my thing is, like, just have that mentality. Imagine if you went to the shops, right, and someone was like trying to sell you an £800 dress, and they said to you, but 1 second, I don't want you to look at the dress. I want you to sniff the dress. I want you to feel the dress. I want you to try on the dress. Visual is very important. If you wanted to buy a house, no, hang on. I want you to look at the solid foundations of the house. Feel it with your hands. When you get into the house, what aura does it give you? Come on, like, visual is important. And if you had that mentality towards every other aspect, people would be like, hang on a second. And I know you're going to say, Sophie, you can't compare it to a dress or a house. But
I wasn't going to say that. Nushy, do you want to come in? Because I got something to say to that. But Nushy, do you have anything to say to that?
I mean, okay, first, like, going back to what you guys were saying before, I do also agree with Monah that the dating pool is unfairly weighted, and that I think that in general, in our, like, people in their 20s, 30s, women are much more attractive than men. And
Agreed.
they also make a lot more of an effort. Like, it's true, most men out there on these apps, for as long as apps have existed, are not that attractive. It's very different. Like, the one time I matched with this like insanely attractive man, he had actually had a professional photo shoot. I thought I was being catfished, and so I set him up to be catfished, right? So I was coming back from my friend's birthday party. It was in the afternoon. It was like when Tinder was like just exploded. And so everybody was going on Tinder dates. And I was just like, damn it, like I want to go on a Tinder date. So get out the app and I matched with this guy. I honestly can't describe to you these photos. Like he'd be like emerging from a pool, like on a lounger in like the Caribbean. Like, these were fake photos. So anyway, so I started chatting to this guy. Obviously, I think he's fake, yeah? I then get to my house. My mum was there, it was her house, and she was having a dinner party. Anyway, talking to this guy, and he's like, I really want to meet you. I said, look, because I don't think he's real, right? I said, if you really want to meet me, I'm Asian, so you have to meet my mother. And I said, you have to drive to my house at 11:30 p.m. You're going to come through the door, and we're going to do this Sri Lankan meeting ceremony, and that's how we'll be able to go on the date. I obviously don't think this is going to happen, right? So I give him my address. And so I go down to the dinner party and I show the photos to all of these. It's like an all-female dinner party. So it's raucous, as you can imagine. And everybody's laughing because they're like, this man is not real. I said to him, where do you live? He said he lives in Russell Square. I was like, no one lives in Russell Square. Nothing was adding up, yeah? So anyway, 11:30 comes. There's a knock at the door. Obviously, at this point, my mom was like, oh God, like, we're all excited to see who this guy is. I opened the door. I hadn't even changed my outfit. I was like mangy. It was him. He was exactly as he had described. And he came in, he goes, why, hello there. Good evening. You must be Anusha. And I was like, no. And so I was like, oh. So I was like, why is this happening to me? Like the one time in my life. Anyway, so then I said, look, we need to do this Sri Lankan thing. Because obviously, like,
You've got to go through it now.
Yeah, but it was too late. And so all these women are like waiting with bated breath, silent in the kitchen, because he doesn't know they're all there. He thinks it's just my mum. And he comes in and literally every single person at this table is silent, in shock. Like he looked fake. My auntie, she was like, can I touch you? And he's like, it just wasn't real. Then my mum says to him, she's like, oh my God, first of all, she's embarrassed because a random man has arrived at 11:30 p.m. to take her daughter somewhere in front of all these gathered people. But second of all, she was like, what car do you drive? I'm there like a tramp. I was like, oh, let me guess, it's like the local Volvo. And he goes, oh, I just bought the latest BMW, right? This man actually lived in a penthouse in Russell Square, drove a BMW, was insanely attractive. His ex-girlfriend was a supermodel. Anyway, but the thing about this story is, actually, in the entire time of dating on apps, that is the one guy I've matched with who was insanely attractive. And because he was so attractive, we've met multiple times. He didn't have to commit. Like, he was going on dates every single night, because actually that's the way, like, these apps are weighted. And the kind of, the paradox of choice, being able to swipe someone new every single night, especially if you're that attractive as a man, makes it quite difficult as a woman to not then imitate those behaviors or have to go for not low-hanging fruit, but less attractive men because like the options are stacked against you.
Lower hanging fruit. I've never heard of that. I'm taking it.
I couldn't. That one got me. I was just going to say, Nushy, like, you are a beautiful woman. Never doubt if a guy is like some 10-10 and he swipes, it's because you're hot. Like for me, you have to believe it. Like, if my dude got up and like, yeah, that picture must have done it. I'm looking sick tonight. Like, I just believe it. So I feel like you have to believe your own source. And I think for me, that's what always comes with like guys. Like, if a guy's gonna go on a date, I just assume that he's gonna like me, personality as well. I'm just like, of course you're gonna like my personality. Of course you're gonna want another date. Like, I feel like I'm fun to be around and I feel like I'm a good date. I like to have a good time. So as much as I can understand it's weighted, when those situations come, you just have to be like, yeah, why isn't this gonna work? Like, come on.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, that's what I say, because this is what guys do. I see some raggedy guys go on some dates and they just believe they're the source. Like, we need to just think that about ourselves.
It's true, but I think the thing is like I said, there is so many beautiful women, and because these apps do make you feel like you're disposable and you have like different ones, it does make you begin to feel like your validation is dependent on that man or on that man's compliment, which I don't agree with whatsoever, but it can do that to you. And that's one of the reasons why I came off it, because potentially I couldn't deal with that anymore. So I thought, no, it's not for me.
Do you know what? It's true, because like I said, I've never done online dating, so there's a complete experience that I'm missing out on there. And one thing that you did say, Monah, that I wanted to come back to, in terms of everybody likes the beautiful. But I think it's really interesting because I think it was in Psychology Today, they were saying after the pandemic, a lot of people said that they were more willing to go for compatibility and chemistry because the pandemic has shown them, actually, maybe I should be looking for someone with like other qualities that are probably going to be more long lasting. So I think a lot of people have decided to rethink what they originally might have put an emphasis on, because it's like when you're in a pandemic for a year or you're single and you're at home alone, you're just like, would I have wanted someone who I really got along with or someone who I just thought was hot? So,
but
exactly. I'm saying if I had to take one, that's what I'm trying to say. But yes, ideally it's both.
Yeah. So guys, thank you. And thank you for watching and listening to Ethnically Speaking. But please, we want to hear what you have to say. And we also want to hear your dating horror stories. But would you use this app? Would you go on a date with somebody without seeing what they look like first? So please let us know in the comments below. And for a full recap of today's episode, head on over to unitedmelaningroup.com/ES083. And there's a link in the description below. If you're watching on YouTube, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and most importantly, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We will be back very soon talking about Britney's latest meltdown and scandals that are coming out about that, whether we should free her or keep her locked up. So please stay tuned, and until our next episode, keep your distance, wash your hands, wear your mask, and stay safe.